I'm Randy and I make candy, and tonight I'm making Banoffee truffles. Stick around. Greetings, my confectionery compadres, and welcome to Randy Makes Candy, where I help you make tasty treats that people love to eat. Some of you may be unfamiliar with Banoffee. I know I'd never heard of it until recently. Back in 1971, Nigel Mackenzie, the owner of the Hungry Monk, a restaurant in Sussex, England, and chef Ian Dowding created something they called Banoffee pie. The name comes from the main ingredients, banana and toffee. There's also some dulce de leche involved, and we'll talk more about that later. Well, as I'm sure you know, whenever I hear about a treat like that, I want to make it into candy, so here we are. As always, I'd love to hear about your results if you decide to make your own Banoffee truffles, as well as suggestions for other recipes you'd like to see in future videos. And if you stick around after the recipe, I'll share some behind-the-scenes footage of how not every adventure in the candy kitchen is a success. For this recipe, I'm using half a box of graham crackers, 1 banana, 1 can of dulce de leche, and 1 cup of chocolate. I'm also using a zip-top bag, a rolling pin, a fork, a couple of bowls, a cutting board, a sheet of SilPat, and a couple of precision dipping tools. Before we get started, let's talk a little bit about dulce de leche. It's kind of a toffee sauce made by caramelizing milk. You can buy it or you can make it, and there are a lot of ways to make it. You can make it in the oven, you can make it on the stove, you can make it in a slow cooker, you can make it in a pressure cooker. Some of the methods kind of scared me, like the one that says, put the unopened can of sweetened condensed milk in a pot of water on the stove and boil it for 3 hours. I know people do it, and apparently it's safe, but I just have visions of the pressure in the can building to a point where it ruptures, which would be messy if not downright dangerous. So I decided to use an Instant Pot. I figure if the pressure in the pot is the same as the pressure in the can, there should be no need for concern. It's also the easiest, most foolproof method I could find. Okay, let's make some candy. First, remove the label and adhesive from the can of sweetened condensed milk. You don't want it gunking up your Instant Pot. Place the can in the Instant Pot and cover it with water, making sure not to add more than the top mark on the inner pot. I had to turn the can on its side to make that work. Make sure the top is properly attached. Turn the steam release valve to the sealing position. Press the pressure cook button and set the timer for 40 minutes. When it's done, carefully release the pressure, open the pot, and remove the can. Do not open the can until it reaches room temperature. This will take a few hours. Once the can reaches room temperature, and not before, open the can and be amazed at the transformation. Crush the graham crackers. Mash the banana. Pour in the graham cracker crumbs and combine. add a little less than half the can of dulce de leche. Combine the ingredients. You can add more dulce de leche if the mixture seems too dry. Freeze the mixture for half an hour to help it firm up. Form the mixture into balls. And place them on a lined cutting board. This is pretty sticky, so I keep a damp paper towel handy. Return them to the freezer for half an hour. Melt or temper the chocolate. Dip a truffle into the melted chocolate, allow it to drain, and return it to the cutting board. At the last minute, I decided to crush some chocolate graham crackers and use them for a topping. It looks nicer and adds a little crunch. Repeat with the rest of the truffles and leave them on the counter to set. And that's it. Okay, let's have a taste. Slanchiva. Wow, these are better than I expected. Crisp chocolate, creamy center, crunchy topping. The textures are just great. Flavor-wise, the first hit is banana. It tastes almost like the banana pudding that you make with Nilla wafers. It has a really nice brightness to it, which kind of surprises me. Mrs. Randy Makes Candy says she finds it refreshing, and I concur. After the banana come the chocolate and toffee flavors, which are a little darker and add a nice contrast. Apparently Banoffee is very popular across the pond, and now I know why. You really ought to try these. This was the first time I ever tried to make dulce de leche, and so I followed a recipe from the BBC Good Food website. It's a stovetop recipe using sugar, butter, whole milk, and sweetened condensed milk. I figured that this method would give me full control of the cook so I could make sure it came out the way I wanted. Boy, was I wrong. Everything started fine, but then it started to thicken up before it achieved that dark caramel color that dulce de leche is supposed to have. So I kept cooking until finally I knew things were definitely not coming out the way I wanted. So took the pot off the stove and let things cool down. This is my first attempt at a toffee sauce. As you can see, not only does it not have that dark color, it's a little thicker than a sauce should be. A little. That's when I decided to try one of the other methods. I thought I'd share this with you to let you see that things don't always go the way they should in the candy kitchen. But we don't give up, do we, compadres? No, we do not. If you enjoyed your time here in the candy kitchen, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope you'll join me next time. You might call it a failed attempt at dulce de leche. I call it accidental caramels. Making sure not creamy center, crunchy topping. After the banana comes the chocolate, and was to follow a recipe from the that's all, folks.